trying to be young and cool and hip like all these other folks that are doing these live broadcasts. It's fun being a student. I obviously know the content. We're going to go today with content, done deal. How to do these, live deals on social media. I am definitely still learning. So, put up with me a little bit. But again, first thing we ask you to do is if you're watching this live, please put an L. If you're doing it on replay, put an R. It'd be great if you could just tell us what part of the world you're from. It's one of my favorite things about what I've been blessed to do in the last 10, 15 years is have the ability to impact people literally all over the world. So please let me know what part of the world you're in, and that'll be exciting stuff. Today we're going to talk about overcoming objections. This is one of my favorite things to be able to teach people. And if you don't know this, many, many years ago, before I got involved in network marketing, I was actually in direct sales for 6 years before I jumped into the network marketing facet of direct sales. And I was literally knocking door to door selling cookware, china, and crystal. Can't believe I did that for 6 years. I look back at it now and go, what was I thinking? Now, if you do that for a living, hallelujah, praise to you. For me, it was a tremendously hard job. It was a lot of work for not a tremendous amount of return. The same effort put in network marketing, my income went up more than tenfold, like dramatically. So if you're in direct sales, that's cool. God bless you. This will definitely serve you. I recommend you at least take a peek at network marketing. When I was in direct sales, by the way, knocking on doors, all my upper level management told me that network marketing didn't work, blah, 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 blah. And it was for obvious reasons. They knew if someone like me ever took a look at it, the odds are I wouldn't be making money for them selling your product much longer. Anyway, let's dive right in and start doing this thing. If you feel like there's any value here today, which I'm hoping you do, I'm sure you will, please share this. The more times you can share it, the better. We're just trying to get, some good information out there, trying to get our program to be a little bit more well known. We just launched a brand new website, marcaccetta.com. We'll put that in the link. I'm sure you'll be able to see that, or in the comments. But in addition to that, we're offering a free gift. So the other thing I ask you to do anytime during the call is type the word free, and we'll send you the 10 keys to making $100,000 in network marketing. Couple hours of audios. I truly, genuinely believe it's some of the best work I've done in the last 10 years. So really want you to be able to get that and get that to as many people as you can. All you got to do is ask for the free gift. As a matter of fact, anyone who goes to marcaccetta.com, the first thing you see is a vibrating button. You click that, same way. You get the free gift either way. So let's talk about overcoming objections, because when I was selling cookware door to door, wow, that was an interesting part of the job. First of all, I realized later that I was going into each presentation with a bad mindset. I was assuming people weren't going to buy it, because the cookware back 35, almost 40 years ago now, cost something like $2,000 for the big set, and it was very, very expensive. I think the smallest set you could buy, the itty bitty set, was $700. So that was a lot of money, because back in the day when I was doing this, the average person was spending less than $100 for a set of cookware. So my job is to get you to throw yours out and to replace it with mine. But you may trade in your car. If your car doesn't run anymore, you get rid of it. But most people, their cookware still works. So the idea of throwing it out is foreign to people. And then to replace it with something that costs 10 times more was a difficult thing. So I kind of went into it with a mindset, ready for this, that it was too expensive. Now, mind you, I didn't own the cookware. I only took out the samples and showed it to people, and I'll talk about that later. But because I myself thought it was too expensive, that was an objection I kept getting from people again and again. I was pre-framed thinking it was too expensive. Now, Henry Ford Motor Cars, one of the most brilliant entrepreneurs in the history of the world, said the man who thinks he can and the man who thinks he can't are both right. Obviously, in today's world, he would say the man or woman who thinks they can or can't. But the bottom line is, whatever you think is the truth is the truth. So my initial thoughts were the cookware costs too much money. So as I was doing the presentation, my unconscious, whether it was my body language, my eye contact, things my conscious mind was unaware of, the language I was actually using wasn't what it should be. It wasn't powerful, it wasn't strong. So if you, let me just stop before we go any further. If you're selling something, whether it be a product or a membership, and you think it's too expensive, you need to get your thinking right. Because here's the deal, think of apothecary scales. If you're selling something and you think this is how much money I'm asking for, this is its value, you know, you could be successful, but you're not going to be wildly successful. If you think this is how much money I'm asking for, this is the value, then you're not going to sell anything. What you need to think, this is the value, this is how much money I'm asking for, wow, this is really worth it. Now, if you're selling a product or service and you don't believe that, then go find a product, service, or membership that you can sell that you believe that, because otherwise you're just BSing people the whole time, or you're not using your product. See, one of the transformational moments for me in the cookware business, when I had the opportunity to go up at one of the conventions at the bar, saw the #1 income earner in the world, a man named Bert Leroy, who was a legend in that company and really in that industry. And I asked Bert, how do you do it? How do you become #1 worldwide year after year after year? And he said, sit down, buy me a drink, I'll tell you. He's a super nice guy. And he said, first question is, what's your favorite thing to cook in a cookware? And I was like, I didn't have an answer because I didn't own the cookware. I didn't cook anything in the cookware. I just had a book and I flipped through it and told people how great the cookware was. So he kind of laughed at me, kind of told me nicely that I was an idiot, and told me if I wouldn't buy, he goes, hey, let me ask you another question. What's the most common objection you get from your potential buyer? Let me tell you what it is, like he was a psychic friend. They tell you they like it a lot because you do a great presentation, but it's too expensive. Is that right? And I was like, how did you know that, Bert? And he just was like, go buy the cookware and buy me a drink at next year's convention. And until you buy the cookware and use it, I'll be wasting my breath telling you what I do. So I walked away thinking he was kind of a jackass, but then I was like, grumbling. I went and I had to finance it. I didn't have $2,000. I bought the big set of cookware and I started to use it. And guess what? It was amazing. Like right now, to this day, almost 40 years later, during this COVID deal, I've been cooking. I'm the guy who never cooked. I went to dinner and lunch every day. I ate out. Not now. I've been cooking almost every meal. And guess what I've been using? That good old Towncraft cookware that I bought all that time ago. It's still in phenomenal shape and it still works remarkably well. Well, go back to the story. When I started using the cookware back then, it was like, wow, it really works. So therefore, when I sat across the table with someone and they said, wow, I really think it's great, but I can't afford it or it's too expensive, I was like, no, you don't understand. I used to think the exact same way, but since I bought it and started using it, here's the thing you don't understand. I started rattling off all the great things. You know, if you take a piece of meat and you put it in the oven, it's going to shrink from 10 pounds down to 6 pounds. If you put it in our Dutch oven, it doesn't shrink at all. If you do this, and I gave her all the ways she was saving money by using the product on top of the value of getting virtually all your vitamins and minerals instead of boiling them away. I'm not trying to sell you a set of cookware. The point is, I became way better at overcoming objections because I really believed in what I was doing. So again, whatever objection you're getting is the objection you actually have about your product or service. So fall in love with your product or service, or find a product or service that you can fall in love with. Because if you think it's too expensive, if you think you're asking this much money and there's that much value, there's no technique I or anyone else can teach you that's going to make you successful if that's the way your brain works. Find something you really like. Now, when it comes to an objection, a couple quick things, because I don't want to make this very long. I could teach on this literally for an entire day. So let me hit some highlights. Number one, don't panic. If someone says, I like it, but I can't afford it, I'm not really sure right now, I need to talk to my spouse, whatever they come up with, that's not a bad thing. That they didn't say no. What you need to get is they didn't say no. If they say no, That's a bad thing. Anything other than no means maybe. And maybe means you can still convince them or show them the value. So here's the thing. Again, what I was taught when I was cookware was this. If the customer says this, you say that. If the customer says this, you say that. So the first thing was I became very robotic the way I replied to someone's objection. Secondly, what happens if they ask you a question you don't have a pre-canned response to? Which if you haven't been doing this very long, that's going to happen quite frequently. So I started learning more and more how to come up with one objection that could answer virtually everything. So I'm going to do one of those for you on this particular live broadcast, and then down the road we'll do a more detailed teaching and training on our Facebook page. So let me just pause for a moment and tell you, this is the other thing that we're excited about. We have a private group now, and I'm going to break protocol. Monica, what's the name of the private group?
All Access.
All Access. So MARC ACCETTA All Access. If you don't know my friend Monaco, he's always behind the camera. He's always directing me and so on and so forth for the last 15 or so years. So anyway, MARC ACCETTA All Access. And if you want to, we've put a link right here in the broadcast, in the post. You can just click on that. The way you normally would get access to this page is you just have to go to MARC ACCETTA Seminars and become a member. Okay, that's all you need to do. Give us your contact details and you'll be a member of this page. But what I'm going to start doing is once a week on that page, I'm going to do a much longer live broadcast and go into much greater detail on a lot of these teaching points. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to do a detailed follow-up to what we're doing right now, and I know that's going to bless a lot of people. Before we finish today, I'll tell you the subject of the first Facebook group that we're going to do this coming Monday. But let's go back to the point. The point is, when someone gives you an objection, relax. It's a good thing. It means they're still interested. They wouldn't give you an objection unless they were interested. Now, here's what you got to understand. People love to buy. Here's another thing a lot of you have wrong. You're going, oh, they can't afford it. The average person is broke, especially now with the pandemic, especially with all the people out of work. So you're doing a sales presentation expecting people to not have the money. Well, the man who thinks he can't is right. So what if you just make one shift and say they can afford it? How many of you have ever bought something you couldn't afford? The best example I could ever give you is many years ago when flat screen TVs came out. At the time, I had just bought a Pioneer Elite TV, a big, heavy, thick, deep TV, a fat TV, if you will. Hopefully I don't offend you with that word, but it was a fat TV. Well, do you know how many people who had a perfectly good fat TV went out and bought a flat TV? Because it was cool and everyone else had one. Even though they had a perfectly good TV, or even if their TV was failing, they certainly couldn't afford them. They were so expensive when they first came out, but it was the thing. So how many people, maybe many of you, went out and financed or borrowed money or figured out a way to get a flat TV? I didn't. I didn't have a flat TV for another 15 years because the Pioneer Elite TV I had was perfectly good and I loved it. It really didn't bother me. It was a little overweight. But you get what I'm trying to say. People don't buy what they need. They buy what they want. So your job while you're doing the presentation is to get them to want your product. Okay, the way you do that, and this is not a presentation on doing a presentation, but you don't just talk about the product. You talk about the feature of the product or membership and the benefit. The feature and the benefit. The feature, example, when I used to sell cookware, I'd say, oh my gosh, and this cookware has phenolic resin handles. Now, how many people right now are going, what? It has phenolic resin handles when I need a couple of sets. Who knows what that is? Virtually no one knows what that is. So then the benefit, so phenolic resin is a certain type of chemical that they put with it. So here's the benefit. You can put the pan in the oven, turn the oven up to 500 degrees, reach your hand in the oven, grab the pan, and the handle never gets hot. You don't need any pot warmers or hand warmers anymore. That handle will never get hot no matter what you do with it. So a feature and a benefit that's going to make their life easier and better. So if you don't do your presentation this way, you're going to find a lot more people giving you a lot less objections if you take your presentation from just information, So again, you're giving them the feature, but you got to go feature, benefit. As a matter of fact, you want to be wild, go feature, benefit. Feature, benefit. I'd rather do a third or a quarter of the features and add more benefits, and then you're going to get way more people buying your product. You don't need to give them every detail about every fact about your product. Again, I know it's about overcoming objections, but the best way to overcome an objection is to get rid of it, that they never bring it up in the first place. But they bring it up. And now here's the thing. Don't freak out. Don't be nervous. Imagine boxing for a minute. Okay, I know a lot of you don't like violence. You never box. But if you were a boxer and you went into the ring and you started to throw punches and then your opponent threw punches, would you go, what? You're not allowed to throw punches. You're going in there trying to sell them something. They may block your punch, if you will, and throw a punch back. So you can't freak out when they throw a punch. That's the way this goes. Now, for me, the competition at the end of a presentation was exciting stuff. The fact that someone gave me an objection actually got me fired up, because now I actually had to work a little bit. What we used to call a cake sale is when you show it to someone, they go, yeah, I'll take it. And as I know I made money, I know I made a sale, but that was never very fulfilling. I wanted, as crazy as it sounds, an objection. So don't be afraid of objections. Objections are fun. It's all the way you look at it in your head. And the only way you're going to be a great salesman, what's the point of doing something if you're not going to be great at it? So the only way you're going to be great, what's going to separate you from everyone else, is if you can handle every objection. Ultimately, here's why people buy or don't buy from you: your confidence, your belief. You know what's going to raise your confidence and belief higher than anything else on earth? In your mind, you believe you can overcome any objection they give you. So again, that takes time. Yes, you do need to learn certain ways to overcome certain objections, but since anyone watching this, you're obviously not all selling the same product or service, so I'm going to give you right now one of the ways, not necessarily the best way, but certainly a very good way to do this. So at the end of the presentation, the person says whatever they say. They say, you know, I really like it, but I can't afford it. I really like it. I want to do the business, but I don't have the time. I really this, but I need to talk. Whatever they say, it doesn't matter what they say. You don't need a canned answer. Whatever they say, you pause, make sure you listen exactly what they say, and you repeat back to them exactly what they just said, but in the form of a question. So someone says, you know, I really want to get the product, but it's too expensive. So I would pause and say, you really want to get the product, but it's too expensive? Notice the facial expressions. Well, you know, I want to do the business, but I don't have the time. You want to do the business, but you don't have the time? Again, and I would practice these responses. And I know for some of you are going, well, that's stupid. That doesn't work. Really? You want to bet? In a game of tennis, see, when I first started playing tennis, I didn't start playing tennis seriously until I was in high school. Then I was a walk-on in college. After I played baseball, I stopped playing baseball. I wanted to play a sport. I tried out for a tennis team. I made it. My good friend Jim taught me something I'll never forget. He goes, in order to win the point, you don't need to hit the ball by someone like you're Roger Federer. Back then, he said, like you're Bjorn Borg. You just need to get it by them. It doesn't have to go fast, and it doesn't have to look pretty. You just have to hit it where they're not. So what I learned was I don't have to be perfect. I just have to get the ball back. Now, for anyone who's played tennis, how frustrating is it when you play someone and they just keep getting the ball back, getting the ball back, getting the ball back, getting the ball back? Sooner or later, you're usually the one that makes the mistake. So that's one of the things I learned in sales. Just get the ball back. So whatever their objection is, you just return it to them. But you say it in such a way that you're questioning why they would say it. See, most people are amazingly insecure. We're all really insecure, to be honest with you. Some of us done a lot of personal development to overcome it, but you will literally be astonished if you just do this. Whatever they try it. What do you got to lose? It's free. Try it. So the next time someone gives you an objection, go, so you want to do the business, but you don't have the time? See, instead of arguing with them, when you answer their objection, especially if you answer it with an intense tone, you're now arguing with them. The customer is always Right. So I'm not going to argue with them. I'm going to ask them a question. I don't know if you know what Socratic selling is. Socrates, you've heard of Socrates. What set Socrates apart from all of the teachers of his time, if you don't know about this, is he didn't ever tell his students anything. He asked them well thought out questions to let them find the answer on their own. So this is what I'm doing. I'm not giving them a response. I'm asking them a question, but I'm doing it the way I'm saying it and the way I'm making my face look is it's kind of like it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. This is way more powerful than you think it is. You could use it for anything. You want to go to the movies, but you can't go on Thursday? And almost for me, every time I do this, the person they reevaluate what they said. How much better can it get? And a certain percentage of them, a surprisingly high percentage of them will go, you know what, you're right, I can do it. You know what, you're right, I can afford it. Now, it may not work every time, but you got the ball back and you shifted it to them to give, instead of you answering their objection, they have to justify why they said that. That is a big win, guys. Now, that's all we have time for today, but I'm telling you, I love this stuff. In 2 or 3 weeks, we'll give you plenty of advance notice. We'll do something on that page. I want to build up the amount of people we have in the group to a substantial amount before we do that. But that's going to be more like 40 minutes to an hour of really great, solid information. Again, MARC ACCETTA All Access. Click the link, join the group. What we're going to do this coming Monday at 2 p.m. is we're going to do our first broadcast on that page, and it's going to be a very awesome subject. Most everyone who watches any of these broadcasts are going to be in direct sales, network marketing, and one of the main things every network marketer wants to do is hit the next rank in your comp plan. So I'm going to be focusing on the keys on what you need to do for you to get to the next rank in your comp plan. Now, I know there's all different types of comp plans. I understand that. But the basic things that you need to do in order to get you and your team producing more, to get you to the next level, we got that covered. We're going to go through that on Monday. So, again, share this broadcast as much as you can. Anyone on earth is welcome to join that group. Get as many people. If you're a leader, get your team members to go on there, and I'll share some amazing information. Believe me, imagine you want to get a promotion. What if 20 people on your team are on this thing and they all get a promotion in the next 90 days? Imagine what that's going to do to your rank. So again, I love doing this. It's a blast doing this. Again, if you're watching live, put an L. If it's R, put replay, put the R. Please share it with as many people as you can. And a free gift, please. If you want the free gift, just type the word free, or you can go to marcaccetta-seminars.com. And please do that anyway. Go check it out. We're running an introductory offer where anyone who spends over $150 gets a free gift, and I think the free gift is worth probably as much as you're paying for whatever items you decide to choose. We're really excited. We also have a special with anyone who gets our colors product, Living in Full Color. Anyone who gets it during the month of August, we're going to have a special webinar only for those people on some advanced things I've never really taught ever about colors. So I'm very excited. Lots of great stuff going on. I think we're over the time limit we really want to have, so I'm going to bid you adieu for today. But thank you for getting on. It's an absolute pleasure. Remember, you need to believe that your product is very low priced, has really high value, features and benefits, and at the end, it's fun. Don't get nervous, don't get scared, and just try what I told you today. Nothing works if you don't try it. So try it. Try it 10 or 20 times and tell me it doesn't work. I assure you it will work more often than it won't. That's all we got for today. Again, thanks for getting on, and have a wonderful, blessed day. Talk to you again. We'll be back on Saturday, by the way. We're doing another live on Saturday here on all these platforms, and then, of course, on Monday of next